Hi, my name is Mike Hosker. I'm a product specialist with Akai Professional. Today I'm showing you the Akai MPD32. This is our MPC style controller. It has 16 velocity and pressure sensitive pads and 4 banks of those 16 pads too. So you get a total of 64 pads that are playable at any given time, and they're selectable by pushing the bank buttons here. We also have 8 sliders, 8 backlit switches, and 8 knobs with 3 banks for those controllers too, giving a total of 72 controllers at any one given time. There's also transport controls here for start, stopping, and starting your recording too, for depending on what software you're using. There's also a note repeat function, which is familiar to MPC users. This allows you to trigger multiple notes by holding your finger down on the pad. So I can go ahead and create a drum roll by turning on note repeat and hitting my snare drum. I can also increase the time division to a faster roll by holding down time division and choosing a different time division. In this case, 16th notes to create a drum roll. So here on my 8 sliders up here, I have chosen the BFD Light preset, which gives me the option to adjust the master volume and the size of the room ambience, and I can actually, with the knobs, change the different mic locations too in the software. So it gives you a different feel and a different sound depending on which kit you're using. Editing in the MPD32 is very simple too. You easily hit edit and move your controller and push the encoder number, and that controller is ready to be edited. All the data values shown on the LCD screen up here, and the MIDI channel for that controller as well. In the global menu, I have my MIDI all notes off if I want to kill MIDI entirely. If I want to change the MIDI channel or the contrast of the LCD screen, the sensitivity of the pads, the curve of the pads. We have 4 settings for the different slope of how the pad's triggered, and how the threshold of the pad, the MIDI clock, whether or not we want it to sync to an external DAW or we want that DAW to sync to the tempo of the MPD32. We can change the tap average too, so if we want the BPM to be calculated on 3 or more taps or 5 taps, we can do that as well. There's a full level function too, which is similar to MPC use as well. This will automatically set all the pads to default to play at their full level. So that's very softly without full level on. I go ahead and turn full level on, and it automatically brings the velocity of that pad to its max level. 16 levels works in a similar way to an MPC too. So I can go ahead and click 16 levels, and depending on the software, I can set up my pads to play a scale monochromatically. I can have them change velocity as I go up in the pads, and you can customize the pads to do different things depending on how you set up your 16 levels. There's a preview button here too to the right of the controller banks. The preview button will allow us to change the value of a controller but not commit to it. So if you've set all your control values up to here and then you change your banks on your software, and the value of those controllers are now down here, by moving the controller, it's not going to snap the value all the way down. So you can press the preview button, move the controller, and it doesn't commit to it. So that way you don't get the snapping effect of the data in that particular controller. On the back, there's jacks for sustain pedals and expression pedals, as well as MIDI in and out jacks and a USB port. You can also connect a 6-volt adapter too to power the unit too, but other than that, it's bus powered. One of the reasons why somebody would choose an MPD32 is that if they're comfortable using software, but they've also used an MPC in the past, or they know how great an MPC feels and they want that pad feel, this is the perfect tool for that. Controller that offers the same feel as an MPC is very powerful, especially when you're working in a DAW like Ableton or Reason. You can get into some really complex arrangements, and especially drum programming. This is perfect for playing drums. So really, dependent upon the power of your software application, this is going to just provide you with a control surface to free your hands up from having to use a mouse, give you some pads for that MPC feel, and be able to lay out your MIDI tracks and your audio tracks using these 16 velocity sensitive pads.